Hi folks, how are you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. In this video, we'll discuss NVIDIA stock price movement for today. I'll try to make an assessment for tomorrow and early next week using technical charts and data analysis. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, NVIDIA opened at 130.02. It made a high 130.75. It made a low 123.10 and it closed at 123.74. That is 3.70% down. The good thing is Nvidia opened at higher than the yesterday close, but it could not maintain its upward momentum. It went down and continued to go down in the afternoon as well. And still, I think that Nvidia should not go below 115 before the earnings. And I showed you yesterday as well, before the earning in the last two quarters, Nvidia had some volatility and it did not have a strong upward momentum. So same behavior we are seeing on Nvidia in this quarter as well. It went down today. It does not mean that Nvidia will continue to go down tomorrow and Monday as well. So either tomorrow it will come back or Monday. But it won't maintain its upward or downward momentum every day before the earnings. So that's what the volatility I mean. Some days up and some days down. So no clear trend you might experience in this quarter as well before earnings. Moving on, last 5 days, Nvidia up 1.56%, and last 1 month, Nvidia up 0.16%, and last 6 months, Nvidia is still up 57.55%. So not just Nvidia, I see all three major indices were down today. For example, S&P was down 0.89%, Nasdaq was down 1.67%, and Dow Jones were down 0.43%. And maybe this could be due to the initial jobless claim that got reported this morning. Let's take a look. The weekly initial jobless claim this week came 232K versus the forecast 232K. So it just matched the forecast. But you can see that it went up from the last week from 227 to 232K. I guess that was not a welcome news for the market. But overall, the numbers are not too bad. So I see the recovery in the market either tomorrow or Monday. Now let's take a look forward P for Nvidia. Nvidia forward P at this point is at 43.24. No major change from the last week closing. The last week closing it was 43.53. And the last 8 weeks of average is about 43.5, so no big difference from there as well. Palantir 93.88, slightly below than the last week closing. SMCI 19.03, it went further down today as well compared with the last week closing that was 19.79. AMD 42.37, it also went down but better than the last week closing. So AMD had a good time this week. Overall, my price range before the earning is 114.5 and 140. I had 143 yesterday and day before yesterday I cut it down to 140 because I think that Nvidia should not make a new all-time high before the earnings. So previous all-time high was 140.5 if I remember correctly. And regarding my stock, I have not sold my Nvidia stock, but I'm thinking maybe 130 was a good time to sell Nvidia stock sometime this week. So I could have bought Nvidia at the lower price either today or yesterday. Now, let's take a look historical data analysis for Nvidia. So based on the cumulative percentage change for this quarter, Nvidia is about 31% up from the previous earnings announcement. From 22nd May, till now, Nvidia is up about 31%. In the last quarter, as we noticed, Nvidia was up about 38% before the earnings. So still Nvidia has some room to go further up in next few days. And based on my price projection that I shared with you sometime last week and early this week as well, this analysis I did 1 month ago. My maximum price was 140, so I believe that 140 is a good point. Nvidia should not be able to break 140 before the earnings based on the price projection analysis as well. Now let's take a look technical charts for Nvidia. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen and also the MACD chart. So after 6 days of positive closing, Nvidia finally was down yesterday and today as well. So as you notice, MACD line now below zero line, so that shows some negative momentum started this morning. But that's not very strong, you see. So there's still a chance that Nvidia may recover tomorrow or Monday. And if you remember, sometime this week when Nvidia was up 6 consecutive days, I told you guys that Nvidia can do some correction or dip any given day this week. So yesterday and today you notice Nvidia took a dip. So again I wanted to stress it does not mean that Nvidia will go down every day. Okay? So after 6 days of positive closing the correction was due, the little correction. Now let's take a look Bollinger bands. If you take a look this Bollinger band, you can notice that the gap between the upper band and the lower band is started opening again. You see, it was shrinking yesterday and day before yesterday, but now you see more expanded version. I'm talking about this. Let me make it more bigger. You see, so yesterday the gap was small, also day before yesterday. And if you notice, Nvidia stock is below lower band of the Bollinger band, so that suggests that we might expect some recovery tomorrow. Now let's take a look Fibonacci levels. You see Fibonacci levels on your screen is starting from 0% to 100%. The highest point is 140.56 and the lowest point I selected is 75.96. Nvidia at this point is trading around 125. The next level of resistance or support was 125.3 as we discussed yesterday. At this point, some downward pressure we noticed today. The next level of support is 115. So based on the Fibonacci levels as well, I'm not expecting that 115 could be broken before the earnings. And on the upper side, the next level of resistance is at 140.5. So I guess Nvidia should gain some momentum either tomorrow or early next week to make some positive recovery. And in the worst case, if Nvidia goes around 115 in next few days, I'm guessing that will be a good buy point to buy it before earnings. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. Starting with the first one that says Nasdaq 100 slumps 1.6% as traders turn cautious ahead of Powell's Jackson Hole address. So as we discussed early this week that Mr. Powell is talking tomorrow, but I was not expecting he would say anything concerning about the economy. So I'm not sure why Nasdaq is down because of this speech. I guess Nasdaq is down because of the jobless claim that got published this morning. Another one that says Supermicro shows margin weakness despite a strong AI demand. Yes, we talked it multiple times that SMCI has to work on their margin. The sales outlook is very strong, but somehow the earnings and the margin they are not managing very well. So one more price target increase today from Rosenblatt that maintains buy on Nvidia and maintains $200 price target. Wow, that's too high for me. I'm not seeing Nvidia touching 200 anytime soon. So now this one that says Nvidia stock rises along with earnings forecast. What's driving expectation? So yeah, early this morning you notice that Nvidia was up around 130, but it lost its momentum. So this news probably was published early this morning. Now another one, and that looks crazy. That says Nvidia stock to surge to 340 in medium term. So they're expecting Nvidia to touch 340. I'm not sure what do they mean by medium term. Maybe next 5 years or next 3 years. They did not tell about the timeline. Maybe next 3 to 5 years, 340 is reachable, but I'm not seeing Nvidia to go that level in next 12 months. And some investors are suggesting not to sell Nvidia too soon. So it says here it's too soon to sell Nvidia, says the investor. And again, this one. So yeah, I'm also not selling Nvidia at this point. I'm still watching the situation before the earnings. So I guess that's all about news regarding Nvidia. I do not see anything exciting about Nvidia at this point. All of this analysis and news looks to me pretty generic. Now let's take a look other AI stocks. As you see, all of my AI stocks in my watch list are red today. The highest negative change you see in SoundHound, that is 8.02%, and the lowest change you see is in Apple, that is minus 0.83%. And Nvidia kind of lie in the middle, that is 3.7%. Now let's take a look economic calendar for this week and early next week. So tomorrow, as we know, Mr. Paul is talking around 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. And after that, next week, we have Monday, nothing much coming. Tuesday, we have consumer confidence. That might be important, but not much. And Wednesday, nothing much coming. And Thursday, we have again weekly initial jobless claims. And Friday, we have PC index data, and that is important. So early next week, nothing big coming. So pretty quiet in terms of the economic data. So that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for today, tomorrow, and early next week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.